Welcome back to Light Crusader. So let's continue. Alright, so in the meantime, let's take a look at the manual because we haven't done so yet. Okay, first off, okay, well actually, no, let me first take a look at the covers. Okay, so the European and Japanese covers are the same. It just has David looking at the screen and the statues
Very
from the.
angelic, almost.
They're from the statues that are on the various little rooms where you can fast travel and save your game and shit like that.
You get the sense of holiness, and that might justify a bit the title, Light Crusader. You know, a bit, I guess.
I'm personally not. I'm personally not a fan of the American cover, but. Whatever.
As for the American cover, we have this cool-looking photo of David slashing through demons of the Horde, or in this case, dark skeletal.
Again,
moves.
I just wish David didn't look extremely choppy.
Also, couldn't you get his hair color right?
In both of these things, honestly.
David is supposed to be blonde, though. Why is he redhead in this one?
Oh no! He is blonde there. It's just that the lighting of the thing, like you'll notice certain streaks there show the yellowish bit to it.
I guess. Okay.
Also, in the meantime, sorry, go on, Pedro.
No, go on.
Well, I think I might have mentioned in the first part, I forgot. But again, my country did not have the games translated in the actual games, but instead they will have, instead the back of the cover actually have a small description translated, because the strategy, at least for Sega, was for the non-English speaking multi-file countries to have the same Rosetta Stone effect, have the same text translated into multiple languages in one giant blockade with small paragraph.
Okay.
Impressive.
Sorry, go on.
Alright, so when it comes to the original British cover, the backgrounds, like the back cover, has its description, so as we usually do with these games, let's take a look at the description. Oh, this bit. Let me explain this bit. Okay, so in true Zelda fashion, you use sometimes bombs to break open doors or something like that, right? Okay, typical logic. However, look at what happens when I actually have the barrel explode. The door does not actually explode, it just opens in a 3D effect.
As all doors do, of course.
That's weird. Anyway, alright, so Light Crusader. Brought to you by the creators of... Go on.
I was about to say, I notice in cases like this, the idea of the puzzle is working around the isometric view of this.
The problem is that when it comes to the barrel, it's a bit tough to actually, and other similar object, it's a bit tough when it comes to positioning, because your perspective might get fucked up from the isometricness.
That's the thing, as we're going to read in later, even the instruction manual kind of admits that the isometric perspective is inconvenient.
Oh, really?
Okay, so it says, brought to you, the European cover, brought to you by the creators of Gunstar Heroes and Dynamite Heady, Light Crusader is the most stunning isometric role-playing adventure you will ever play. It's the best you will ever play to. Taking on the role of David, a talented swordsman in the realm of King Frederick. By the way, that's another thing about the potential sequel. This King Frederick, and this, as well as never seen, his kingdom is never seen. So if there were to be, I'll be this woman.
Slimy.
Thank you. What am I doing in a place like this?
I don't know.
You tell me. Yeah, she just says the same thing over and over.
Day.
Well, that was it, I guess. Okay. Yeah,
well,
like if there were to be a sequel, I'm assuming probably it would take place maybe in his natural kingdom, because remember the original plot synopsis says that David was originally going to come in here just to have a vacation. King Frederick sent him here because this is such a usually such a peaceful town. It would be nice for him to have a vacation. And the first thing it shows up, oh, by the way, Sir David, we have people disappearing. Could you please, there's apparently magics and demons involved. Could you please go and fix that for us, please? And David's response is, and I quote, I certainly will.
He's seething on the inside, isn't he?
No, like I said, Jova, if the characterization that they gave to him as in the one of Tommy Wiseau is correct, he probably doesn't even know where he is.
I think one of these days we have to look at that movie. Okay, a movie that I do not know how to pronounce. Not because the words are hard to pronounce, but it's
The Disaster Artist.
No, it's a difference.
Best friends / best fiends. I say it's hard to pronounce because I don't know if you're supposed to call it friends or fiends, because essentially the R is in parentheses.
Anyway, continuing on from the cover, it says, Frederick, it is your mission to discover who and what is at the center of an evil curse put on your medieval village. Actually, it's not David's medieval village, it's actually somebody. But again, you can tell the people who wrote this thing didn't actually play the game. Using your swashbuckling sword, yes.
I wonder, is the idea that he was going to go on vacation, but then his kingdom called him back?
No. The idea is
a different one.
The idea is that he was wary of battle. He was wary of battle. So King Frederick answered, "Oh, you can go to Green Row. It's a peaceful village. Or you can take a vacation." Problem is,
I told him to go there.
Yeah, we saw that in the opening of the game. Anyway. It is your mission to discover who. Using your swashbuckling sword skills and by solving dozens of taxing puzzles, you cover a massive playing. You cover a massive playing area in your pursuit of the truth. What?
Of course, we were playing Ace Attorney all along.
Okay. Man who wrote this thing, you are coming this dangerously close to word salad. Like, whatever.
But again, that might be the. Oh, sorry, go on. I'm sorry.
Picking up tips and intriguing solutions as the game evolves. Wait, the game evolves? Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Light Crusader involves many hours of exciting gameplay, as well as stunning graphics, mind-bending puzzles, helpful fellow villagers. Oh, helpful fellow villagers. Look at that too. Apparently, helpful fellow villagers is now considered a selling point for your RPG.
Again, folks, if you think games are never accessible enough these days, it could have been worse, much worse.
I mean, I wouldn't say this is like the worst thing. Like, sure, the instruction manual doesn't match up with the story, but sadly, this was kind of a norm with games.
Remember, John, that's the back cover of the UK version.
Yeah, there you go. See, it is sealed. Basically, there's a barrier around this place, and as the game says, it is sealed. Alright, I guess we'll just continue exploring then. Yeah, that's one of the things about this game. I will say this. The dungeon design is actually pretty cool in the sense that even though there is a map screen you can use, I never use it because I generally don't need it. You can just honestly just wander around and just randomly explore and find whatever it is you need to find, because the rooms are very distinct in the way they look and in the way they're designed, so it's very easy to remember where you've been. So honestly, even as a kid, I never really needed the map screen. I was always able to remember where I was, because I generally will compliment the artists for making every room look distinct enough so that you can always tell that you've been here or not. Go on.
Again, I have to give this game credit. Like, not to say that, again, all games of old were bad, but usually they have at least one common problem of games of the old that, again, by modern standards, make them a bit of a chore to play, but no, this one surprisingly seems to maneuver around more or less all of them. That's not to say it's, like, absolutely perfect, but nah, man, like, this is a game I wouldn't have trouble recommending to anyone.
A door. I love this one. I love this one. You press a switch and it says a door opens somewhere.
Don't say.
I don't know, dude. You'll just have to look. But anyway, continuing on from the description of the UK cover. Yes, fellow villagers. And ferocious enemies with a full game save option. This is the most highly addictive and playable adventure game yet to come to. This is the most highly addictive and playable adventure game yet to come to the Mega Drive. Well, there you go, Dibs. This turns out Light Crusader is the most playable adventure game on the Mega Drive.
Light Crusader is one of the most games of all time.
As opposed to those unplayable adventure games.
You know, like like virtual highlight.
Let's listen again.
Virtual highlight.
Well, that was the Sega Saturn.
Never.
I think it was Super Highlight that was on the
Super
Genesis.
Nintendo.
So let me get this straight. The first riddle was turn on all the lights. The second riddle is turn off all the lights. I mean,
Wax on, wax off.
No. Super Highlight
Genesis,
was
right, my bad.
Yeah.
Right, because there's also the joke about getting a stack of Genesis games.
anyway.
pretty much, yeah.
Oh, and there's a boss against the dragon. Alright, gives me a...
Eat him.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know, I mean, well, look, you're a mystic knight on a mystic quest. It's kind of part of the contract that you gotta fight a dragon at some point.
That's the thing, Dibs. Like, they usually use the beat them clip for whenever you have to fight normal enemies. The bosses, the bosses themselves don't actually have a beat them thing, surprisingly.
Also, look at them spear physics. Yeah, this is not Vector, man. I'm sorry.
No, like that's the thing too. Like honestly, like I said, trust me. From various experimentation as a kid, I eventually determined that most spells are useless. So I mostly just stick to melee combat because honestly,
I was literally talking about the spears, the model of the dragon.
Oh, that. I think it looks.
Like I said, it's an interesting attempt for 3D modeling, but again, Vector Man beat
Yeah, it does. Anyway, to continue, yeah, it's the most playable adventure. This game, and it also has 2 reviews, one from Sega Pro and another one from Sega Magazine. Let's see what it says. This game is amazing, incredible, and utterly fantastic, all at the same time, by Sega Pro. Okay, well, at least it's descriptive, which is something more than I can say for Sega Magazine, for the Sega Official Magazine's review. One of the best games of the year. That's
Wow.
it. That's all it says.
Brilliant. But that's the UK cover. The European one, because of the text, the Rosetta Stone effect that I mentioned, completely cuts away the review part, and the description in English is already very short because let me just get through it. It's basically an abridged version of what Pedro just said. It says, from the creators of Gunstar Heroes comes like Crusader, one of the most stunning RPGs ever. As King Frederick's best swordsman, David doesn't even get mentioned by name. You have been sent to scour this vast land for clues and solve.
Let me just explain this. What you just saw me there was trying out the Judgment spell, and as you can see, it only hurts 1 HP per hit. You start to see what I mean? This is supposedly the most powerful
spell.
because, and yet it only hurts him 1. As you can so as you can see, I eventually get tired and just resort to melee combat because most of the spells are useless. Go on.
I was about to ask, like, well, is it a case where, certain enemies are resistant to some spells, but the Judgment spell's cool thing is that it can hurt any enemy?
It's possible that it's that, Jova, but at the same time, I never bothered to experiment. But at the same time, Jova, I never bothered to experiment much because, to be perfectly honest, it's much easier to just use melee combat.
Again, I gotta say, the ability to pause and, stack up on some health in the middle of a fight is, again, that's kind of an amazing thing for any type of game in this age.
It reminds me of Nier Automata, because Nier Automata also has that. You can pause at any moment during the boss battle and stock up on whatever items you need and just use them. So even in the hardest boss battles in Nier Automata, you can basically just stock yourself full of healing items, and you can basically just cheese for the fight. So,
like, this game was seriously ahead of its time.
It was.
Anyway.
Love that pose.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, every time you beat a boss, the main theme plays. Oh, and here's another guy being hanged from the...
Oh!
And we got another maximum life. Yes, that's it. Maximum life. Oops. Yeah, this guy's a bit difficult to free because you have to take a... Yeah. Hold on.
Just be careful not to accidentally stab him. Again.
Gotta be careful not to fall off here.
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you.
And the rope
Blips.
burns.
Okay. I was kidnapped by men in black. I find myself in this shrine. Those guys are from the Wizards Guild. Dun dun dun.
And they didn't neuralize you.
You've seen the barrier? There must be many people behind it who were kidnapped too. The king ought to know how to pass through the barrier. Oh, does he now?
Oh, nice. The door opens for
Oh,
us.
okay. Did you know what the guy just said? Oops. Basically, turns out the guys who have been kidnapping people are from the quote-unquote Wizards Guild. We'll find out later what the Wizards Guild is.
Men in Black, as it's apparently.
Hold on a bit, because we're about to talk to the king. Okay, so the king apparently knows how to get through that sealed barrier that we found. So let's see what he has to say. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's see what the Oracle has to say about this. Go ahead, Lips.
You better ask the king.
Well, what good are you then?
Well,
I'm
okay.
a pretty shit oracle.
Okay, guys, let's be fair. You asked him a question, and he did point you to the correct answer.
I guess. Alright, go on, Pedro, talk to the king, please. Thank you. You mean the guildsman? I wonder. No, it's nothing.
Okay.
No.
Means it probably is something very important.
Yep. We have a legend that says that a long time ago our ancestors sealed an evil entity inside the shrine. Because of course they did. I fear it's a bad omen. No shit, Sherlock.
Steve, do you think maybe we should take care of this evil entity? No worries.
It's
If
a
it turns
problem
out
for the
that's just
future
the younger
generations,
generation.
Yeah.
Yep. With this talisman you can pass through the barrier of the shrine. We're counting on you. You gain talisman.
What a story, King.
Yep, basically. Go carry on, Teo.
I don't even remember where was I, so I might as well start from the middle. There you go. As King Frederick's best swordsman, again, David not mentioned by name, you have been sent to scout this vast land for clues to solve the many mysteries you will encounter as you fight to lift the curse from your kingdom. That's it.
That's it.
Everyone in Europe thought that Frederick
But that's
was
the thing, Jova. I cannot speak for the other languages because, again, my experience with those is limited. Like I said, my French is too rusty for me to try to understand precisely what it says. But I can tell you what my country does it. So let me just check quickly. There you go. Okay. Roughly, mind you. From the same author of Gunstar Heroes, here's to you like Crusader, one of the most surprising roleplay games of all time. In the role of King Frederick's best swordsman, you have been invited in perustration of a vast territory. Notice that, by the way, a small note, after the dot, there's not a space before the next sentence starts, so, oops, sentencing. You will have to solve endless roles, collecting every clue that you will be able to find in the course of your adventure in the attempt to, set back the fate of your kingdom. So a bit more flowery, let's just say.
That's free for free. Manuals that believe that David is one of Frederick's knights.
And I also love how the Italian description says that this is one of the most surprising RPGs of all time.
Okay, the term we use is something that we use to describe. We have a couple of those terms that is one term but can be used to describe multiple things. It can be used for surprising, but in a sense of positive surprise, rather than just not expected.
Okay. I get it. So like the biggest surprise of the year.
Yeah, something like that.
Like because usually you say because usually even my country usually say the biggest surprise when you talk about it. You don't usually say the most surprising.
A similar example of that, believe it or not, is in Avengers: Infinity War. You know the phrase of Thanos being inevitable. In my country we use a term that is technically means inevitable, but at the same time it also means unscrutable, which also works for the theme of the movie. So essentially my country decided to apply some woozeries to see, we're so smart, we're so sophisticated in terms.
Clearly. Oh, by the way, according to we're going to read the manual at a later part, but according to the manual, that magic that I'm buying, they're called element capsules.
I mean, they are spherical, I guess, but...
Also, yeah, air, fire, earth, water. Yeah, David is the avatar. Which is interesting because if they just swapped fire for water in the place, that would from left to right, it would have considered the avatar cycle perfectly there. So that's interesting.
Be the new avatar after Korra.
Anyway. Oh, that would be funny. That would be funny. The Earth avatar is David Lander.
That's great.
Anyway,
By the
go on.
speaking of which, I heard that apparently they're getting Takeshi Furukawa as the composer for the new upcoming Netflix Avatar show.
Oh, wait, Takeshi Furukawa, isn't that the... Hold on.
Star Wars, the Clone Wars guy.
Oh, okay. I was mistaking him for somebody else. Never mind.
He might also be who you're thinking of. It depends on what you're thinking of.
He was a composer for The Last Guardian.
That's it. I was
Yep.
wait. I was thinking. Wait, that name sounds familiar. Is that the composer for The Last Guardian? I love. Well, actually, no. To remember, like each of the free.
Wasn't the same for Shadow of the Colossus?
No. Each of the free Team Ico games had different composers too.
Okay.
Kawatani did the music for Shadow of the Colossus, and he also came back to reorchestrate the music for the Bluepoint remake.
I forgot, but does Ico even have music at all?
It does. Well, remember too, it has that vocal song and everything. So.
Sure, I guess at the end, but
Okay, remind me. I know that Eco is more or less confirmed to be chronologically a sequel to Shadow of the Colossus.
okay, not the last thing in the timeline, but yes, it's a sequel to Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
But that being, yeah. Even though Shadow of the Colossus was made after it, so
Yeah.
Shadow is a prequel to Ico. That's actually what it actually is. Yeah.
regardless, though, was it ever confirmed where or if Last Guardian fits in this?
Like I said in our
potential
commentary,
timeline?
in our round commentary, Jova, it's never an official statement because Fumito Ueda loves to be kind of like Hidetaka Miyazaki, but
Yeah.
he's so more cryptic in terms of giving a definitive answer to lore questions. So we had to, in defense, had to inform through visual informations, as in the horns are present, and the energy that is used, the light blue cyan energy that is harvested by the creatures like Trico, is similar to the one that forms Dormin, ultimately, the Colossi that were part of him. So it's not only we don't really are in particular sure that it takes place at the same time or before or after.
Mhm.
It could definitely appreciate the Colossus, but it's to inform that it's still connected to that in some kind of way, and it's the remnants of Dormin's energy utilized by man.
Whether himself has said that all of his games take place in the same world. To continue off on the cover, let's take a look at the back cover of the American box. It says, fight your way through a dungeon of evil! Exclamation mark. Yeah, this is a bit hard to read, so excuse me. Fight through a dungeon of evil innocent. So of evil what, sorry, too? What is it?
No, go on. I'll mention what I have to
For a dungeon of evil, innocent people are vanishing, victims of horrifying magic. You, a master swordsman, and apparently we're not going to mention his name, are challenged to save them. Only your sword and razor-sharp mind will help you survive the lethal labyrinth, rescue the people, and save the kingdom. Okay, so here are the selling points.
Why is the UK back cover the only one that mentioned David by name?
I don't know. Here are the selling points. Brutal real-time arcade style fighting.
Brutal.
Brutal real-time arcade style fighting against legions of gruesome and deadly dungeon monsters. And so, incredible 3D graphics make the action real. Holy shit!
And by 3D, we mean isometric 3D.
There is some 3D elements like the doors or the spears, like we mentioned.
Or the dragon.
But not much more than that.
No.
But yeah, I get what it's trying to do. It's the American Kirby's hardcore trope. Like, we're trying to sell these matches, like, dude, look at this cool thing!
Yeah, basically.
Was this released in the 90s?
1985. Yeah.
It's like that image of it's like that post that compares a British documentary, nature documentary versus American nature documentary.
Anyway, it also says, and I quote, "Solve intricate 3D puzzles or perish." Or perish.
Well,
Basically, if I fail
Sorry,
to solve
Dibs, you haven't managed to unlock the door of your aisles. I'm afraid you have to die.
basically, if I fail the puzzle in the game, I die in real life.
Yes.
Imagine a Layton game like that. The professor, no!
I also love how it describes the save feature. Save up to 4 games so you can fully explore the expensive playing environment.
Puzzle number 088. death on the puzzle block. Solve this puzzle, or not only will you not get any picarats, you'll not get any of your life.
I guess.
You know,
Go on.
I've noticed, despite him looking incredibly bulky and muscular on both of the covers, in the actual game, David kind of looks a bit scrawny.
Yeah, he does. The sprite is not the
like
best.
Theo said, a blonde Tommy Wiseau.
I think I can. So go on, Pedro.
No, go on.
I think I can sort of see a bit of what Joe was saying, and I think I can summarize the difference between the cover in this. The American one has better composition, with David actually fighting someone, a bit of action and everything, but I would argue that the original one has a better art style to convey the aesthetic of it.
Okay. I love how there's actually two parallels between the descriptions of the American and UK cover. The UK cover calls it a massive playing area, whereas the American cover says an expensive playing environment.
Expand your cartridge.
Yes.
Oh.
Like I said, of all these bits in the description at the back of the cover, my favorite is the whole Crusader is the most playable adventure game on the Mega Drive. The most. Again, I can guarantee you the person who wrote the UK cover doesn't understand a single thing about video games. The most playable? Every game is playable. Like.
The Ordinary 86 is providing us an answer to that.
I guess, but.
Also,
you can play it only when the game wants you to.
Also, Pedro, do you really want to challenge David Cage?
I just like I get that, but this is 1995. For the standards of 1995, saying this means nothing.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hold on, let me check something.
Like the biggest game you can argue might have been unplayable, the least playable at the time, might have been Night Trap. Like.
You know, I wonder. Maybe, okay, this game was released in 1995, which means it came out after a technical masterpiece that came out in 1992. I recall the trailer going, "Babies, kids, it's animation." Maybe that's where they got the inspiration.
Oh, that one did the game on the Super Nintendo.
They didn't even say it like that. It's like, it's animation.
And that's it. This is a smaller. Okay, apparently, from what I've heard, that trailer was apparently edited, a chopped off bit. That's the thing, Jova. Even though it's supposedly a chopped off version, it's still showed in theaters and shit. So I don't know what the fuck the editor of the trailer was thinking when he did that. My guess is there was some kind of screw up in the editing process, and I guess they decided to leave it like that and just hope nobody would notice.
You know, the sad thing is, like, well, given how that movie turned out reception-wise, it really makes it seem like they couldn't think of a legit good thing to say about it. Although, from what I've heard, the SNES game's even worse.
Ugh.
Basically.
So bad that it is apparently considered one of the worst SNES games of all time.
Okay, considering Lester the Unlikely is a thing, I have to
This would be like if Dwebs came to my place and asked for a steak, and I'm like, okay, Dwebs, here it is. This is the most edible steak you can find in my restaurant. Like,
but you barely cooked it.
But it's edible.
It's edible.
The sole of my shoe is edible.
Dribs. It will keep eating. It will keep you from dying of starvation.
Okay, so
because I'll be dead of food poisoning.
all right, everybody. In the next part, we continue to explore the massive playing. Oh, actually, no. I'm playing the American version, so actually, we'll continue to explore the expensive playing environment. See what we can find.
Of course.
So see you then.
See ya.